Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's proceed with our next speaker, a titan in the realm of real estate and beverage industry. Wow. Yes, let's hear it. Let's keep the round of applause going. Come on.
Hello everybody, I got into a rickshaw and landed up at your place, and I'm really happy that I will be able to do it. So between a car and a walk and a rickshaw, that is what life is all about. You have to learn to adapt yourself to the circumstances to reach wherever you want to reach. कल उठ के कोई भी बदलाव आएगा जिंदगी में, too many changes are going to take place. The world is not going to fit what you want it to fit. The world will change. At some time you will have COVID. So when you have COVID, you have a big problem because you're sitting in the house. So what do we do when we sit at home? The smart people who want to be an entrepreneur will do e-commerce. So what will they do in the business of the world? They will change depending on what the problem is. I have the fortune of running 14 colleges in Mumbai. We have 45,000 students in the colleges. And one morning, these students didn't want to come to college. Oh, sorry, they were not allowed to come to college. They may have still not wanted to come to college, but anyway, they were at home. And we had to teach them. And within 2 weeks, we were able to get 85% of the students online, those who wanted to listen, of course. But we were able to do it and get a solution to the problem. So whenever there is an issue of a problem, there is not only an idea to solve the problem, but to use that as an opportunity in this world. So when we realized that there is something called COVID which caused a problem, a company in Pune decided to produce vaccines not for Mumbai and Maharashtra, but the whole of India. So 2 companies in India manufactured enough vaccines for whole of India. India then became the biggest vaccine producer in the world in a matter of 3 months. 3 महीने में reasonably sized company within 3 months time became the biggest vaccine producer in the world. And not only produced vaccines for India, but we were the only country, large country, having such a big population, which could produce vaccines for the rest of the world. This is the big story that takes place. That means at the macro level, what can be possibly done? So we will all think, कि ये तो बड़ी company थी, big issues, big problems, and big ideas and thoughts that can happen. But it's not like that. Most of the people who have been entrepreneurs had started very small, had small ideas, small thoughts, and made big things that were done. Sometimes we think that the platform of opportunity which comes up comes for one person but does not come for another. So I'm going to share a story of my daughter Priya. She's now 45. At the age of 23, she did her chartered accountancy. She was working in a professional company, Ernst & Young. And then one day she comes to my office and says, Papa, and when they say Papa, no, it's very dangerous. Any daughter saying that is dangerous. She's saying, Papa, I want to join your company. So I said, yeah, but you always said mine is a sole proprietor type of company. मुझसे मेरे साथ काम नहीं करेंगे. She said, you know, I have learned what I wanted to learn in this company, and I want to see what I can do and help you out in the company. 4 months she works with me, and then she comes back to me and says, Papa, I don't want to work with you. I said, why don't you want to work with me? Did I do anything wrong? No, but you know, problem is me. I said, what's problem? She said, whenever I do anything right, I'm Niranjan's daughter, so you did it right. And when I do it wrong, Niranjan's daughter, you're still doing it right, and I'm always Niranjan's daughter, I'm not my own person. So I said, okay, what do you want to do? She said, I don't know what I want to do. So I said, okay, what, you do nothing? She said, no, I want to think of what I want to do. She comes back to me after 2 months and says, Papa, I want to start a call center. And I'm talking about, she's now 45, she was 23. And when she said, at that time, call center, I didn't know what a call center was at that point. So she explained me, you know, a call center, how it operates. And I said, at that time I was a little illiterate about this subject. So I said, telephone operating business? Phone par baat karte ho kya? Papa, you're too old. And that is so many years ago. I was supposed to be old. I'm now 74, 73 actually, almost 74. And that time I was considerably younger, but she still called me old at that time. Anyway, she started a company called Zenta Technologies with 12 employees at the age of 23. I'm going to do a fast forward. At the age of 27, her age of 27, she sold that company to a US company for valuation of 100 million US dollars. And this is that much time back. What I'm trying to say is that you don't have to have your father's business necessarily in order to see it, or to have a platform which performs completely, because the opportunities which are now available in India are 10,000 times more than what was available during her time. 4 years later, 5 years later, my son Darshan, he went to Dubai. We had gone for a holiday and we were working there, and I said, you know, real estate, Dubai is coming up, why don't you have a look at it? And he too got interested. He started a real estate there in a very small way, and then came up. Again, after 6 months, he got into, bought a plot of land, and then he phones me and the same, Papa, again sounding different, but actually same, dangerous statements that they make. And he said, Papa, do you mind if I make my first building taller than your tallest building? At that time, my tallest building was 30 floors high, actually proposed, not even built, and we were under construction of that building. And I said, okay, don't worry, you're my son, I don't mind, you're not a competition. Why should I feel bad about my son making a building taller than mine? So what is this height of this building that you want? He said, I want to make a 90-story residential building. I said, Darshan, think again. The tallest residential tower, not commercial, tallest tower at that time in the world was only 78 storied. He says, Papa, that is why I want to make it 90 story, because I want it to be 90 story tall. So at the age, again, of 27, he started this building at age 23, completed at the age of 27, and at the age of 27 or 28, he had built, at that time, the tallest residential tower in the world. So that is the possibility of you and I, or the next generation, actually being able to go to a next level of opportunity to them. Considering the situation which we have now in India, which is the fastest growing nation in the entire world, our GDP growth is now 7%. 7% as compared to other countries, the Western countries and economies growing at the rate of 3 to 4%. Even China, I believe, is less than 5%, and other countries growing at a much slower rate. So what is the opportunity in India today is going to be a multiple of what you see anywhere in the world. So that in the next few years, this is the land of opportunity that you will be able to grow into, and that is the changes that you are going to see into do it. What are the changes that are happening so rapidly in our neighborhood? Let's look at something like Mumbai city and the suburbs. In the Mumbai metropolitan region, in the last 65 years, we have had 190 kilometers of suburban train. The Western Railway, the Central Railway, and the Harbour Line. 190 kilometers for 65 years. In the next 3 years, we will add 300 kilometers of metro. How much? 300 kilometers of metro. We have added a cross harbour bridge, the MTHL, 22 kilometers long, 16.5 kilometers across the sea, and one of the longest bridges in the world. I think it's the 10th or 12th longest across the sea. And we will open up enough development land equivalent to half the land of Mumbai city, just 20 minutes across the bridge. So the opportunity of growth in the second segment is huge. The third infrastructure which is taking place is the Western Coastal Road, which is already going to be opened by the Honorable Prime Minister in a small portion from Marine Drive to Worli and Worli to Bandra, and then connectivity coming up to Warsaw and then ultimately to Dahisar. This is also being added. We are also adding a new airport in Navi Mumbai within 2 years, that is before the end of 2025. So what has really happened? So all that, yes, it's worth clapping, it's really worth clapping. The segment that we are talking about is worth 3 lakh crores. How much? 3 lakh crores. Big amount of money. When we worked on this project 10 years ago and we put it across to the government said we don't have that kind of money which was there. And why did they not think, why did they think that they did not have that kind of money? Because in 65 years, the central and state governments have invested less than 35,000 crores in the Mumbai city and suburbs in 65 years. Now in 5 years, we are investing 3 lakh crores. So can you imagine the time? First you take the time of 65 years and we are doing it in 5 years. Look at the cost, 30,000 crores in 65 years, and we are now going to put 3 lakh crores in 5 years time. And I'm not counting the Navi Mumbai airport because that is privatized, and the 5,000, 7,000 crores of investment which will take place there is privatized. This is government infrastructure. And we didn't have that kind of money, obviously. So what did we look at? So we talked about the private sector really doing it, or individuals doing it. And now we come to the government sector, and India was able to borrow from JICA 70% of the money for this project for 50-year loan at 0.1% interest. 0.1%. I wish I could get money at that rate. Anyway, we got it for the purposes of our own. So what happens really is that we have to learn and see what is the vision that we have. Whether as an individual, in any business, when you see opportunities or you face challenges, like the case of COVID, whether it is collectively for a corporate entity that really does it, like e-commerce or vaccines or anything like that from a corporate entity, or for the government at the national level. The opportunity and challenge is that sab kuch nahi hua. That is what is an opportunity for us to do. लोग क्या बोलते हैं, ये तो हुआ ही नहीं है और कभी कोई नहीं किया है. This has never been done before. So we have to think, if nobody has done it before, that is the opportunity really to do. Look at the stage of our roads and national highways. In 15 years ago, 10 years ago, India was putting up lots of roads, national highways. And we used to do 1 kilometer per day 15 years ago. 1 kilometer per day of national highway was being constructed in India. Do you know how much we are constructing today? Anybody making a guess? Yeah, we're doing about 40 kilometers and we have achieved the target of 35 kilometers of national highway per day. I went to Ayodhya on 22nd for Ram's Pratishthan, the deity's Pratishthan. That building is made of stone and granite, completed in 2.5 years, no cement and no steel. The foundations are 15-meter deep. It can withstand earthquake of 7.5 on the Richter scale plus, and it has a life of 1,000 years. Kitna? You and I won't see it, but anyway, you can go and pray now. This is something which we have been able to achieve. A city which has a brand new airport, which I landed in, brand new railway station of international standards. The entire city has been done. The ghats which have been constructed are 10 kilometers long. 10 kilometers of ghats. You can imagine millions of people will be able to do it. So what am I trying to share with you, my young friends? This is the age of India. This is the time for India. This is the time for the youth and the future of this country. In every field of opportunity, there is going to be growth. You either take that opportunity or give it up. I feel very sad sometimes when I think about things. What's the difference between an animal and a human being? An animal is destined by the Almighty God to sleep, to get up, search for food, eat his food, procreate, and go to sleep. The human being, unfortunately, sometimes lives like an animal, does only that. It is only the few people who understand that the difference between a human being and an animal is the opportunity of being able to vision, to be able to think, to be able to create, to be able to look forward, to see opportunities, to see the vision and be able to do. Look at the vision that we have had for the country. Look at the vision that is taking place. We decided to land on the moon. We wanted to land on the difficult side of the moon, where nobody has landed up till today. But the budget given to ISRO is only 10% was given to NASA. Did the scientists of ISRO say, हमारे सरकार ने तो हमको इतना ही पैसा दिया है तो हम नहीं पहुंच पाएंगे? No, they didn't say that. They said, in spite of the challenges that we have, we will work to create a rocket which goes to the moon and lands on the difficult side of the moon and not the easy side which would have cost less. We designed a landing craft which will be having a more difficult journey than we will have for the purposes of landing on the moon. Give India a big hand. So this is the opportunity that we all had. For instance, I'm a first generation business person. My father was a doctor. I first got into business. We started very small construction, very small. I can't even talk about it, it's so small. We started a small textile power loom unit in Kandivali Charkop Industrial Estate. And we were doing business in both in a very small way, and I was new to the line. Nobody in my family was ever in business before me, and I was little experienced about the business of business. So I was losing money in both, the textile business as well as the real estate business. I was making losses, and I had no idea as to how we would get out of it. I had to decide to sell off one. Didn't know which one to sell. I got a notice from the union. They wanted 100% increase in wages. मैं बोला एक जीरो का मिस्टेक होगा, 10% की बात करते हो क्या? बोला नहीं, 100% increase in wages because the mills used to pay very high, the arbitrage used to be the business of business in power loom sector. Nevertheless, I looked at it as an opportunity. I sold the textile unit simply because the demand was exorbitant and I couldn't make any other decision. Sold the textile business, and I, as a real estate person, is in front of you. But those are the kind of decisions we all have to take when we get into either an opportunity of our circumstances, whether you are in the business of any line or so, opportunities will come up and we need to identify what those business opportunities are. Today, fortunately for you and me, capital is not so much of a challenge as it was in the time when I was there. For me, capital was the most difficult thing to get. I used to borrow money because no banks or financial institutions would touch real estate in my time, 35, 40 years ago. And we borrowed money at 2% interest per month. Terrible. But we still survived and did whatever we did and come up the very hard way. Today, you're able to get monies at much lower rates of interest. The capital markets are growing very well. VC funding are there available for opportunities that you can take. And the best part is that most of these VC opportunities have a base of technology that gives you the chance and opportunity to scale up the business that you have. So the first is to pick up an idea of what the business would be. The second is to understand what the market opportunity is there. The third is to understand what the capital requirements would be there and the risks associated with this thing. And why do we need to study the markets which are important? Let me give you an example. Hindustan Unilever, the largest FMCG company in India, sells more than 5,000 products. Soaps, toothpaste, hair oil, the works. 5,000. I can go on a whole day and I will not be able to name all of it, certainly not remember the name of 5,000 items. But when they take out one new soap, they do a market study, they do research, they talk to the retailers, they go to the marketplace and have a study done in some of research as to what is the type of soap that should be done. What is the price at which this soap will sell? What is the market segment which we should target? Should it be the common man? Should it be the luxury soap segment? What is that segment to do? This is most important of all for all entrepreneurs that really we need to do. All the entrepreneurs need to do. The need of the entrepreneurs is extremely important because unless you do that market study, you will just have gut feel to do, or you will emulate somebody else. The reason you must not do this is really to look at the market and find out. That's not difficult to do, but you got to spend time, energy and money for the purposes of doing that. And best of all, if you can find a mentor who can guide you, a person in the industry a person in the marketplace, a person who you can look up to, and find out whether you can get some research ideas of what we really need to do for all these things. And of course, scalability is extremely important in any entrepreneurial activity that you do today. Because at the end of the day, if you want to go into the markets, if you want to go and see how the scale can come up, and whether the startup investor is really going to do, because he's going to ask you about how to scale the opportunities. So, lots and lots of opportunities will be available in various businesses that you have, but the opportunities are going to be new and many that we need to do and fill up over a period of time. The fun part is that India in its future is going to have so many opportunities that if each one of you in this hall picked up that opportunity and took it forward, there would be much more needed than that in the very city in which you come from. And fortunately for us, that opportunities are growing. So all in all, I want to share with you that it's a great time in India. We are the envy of the entire world. We are growing brilliantly. Your education certification of the colleges that you belong to are top of the line. You have a wonderful platform to start from. You're already ahead of the curve. But if you become lazy, if you become like an animal and take it easy, then you can only go down. You can't move up. So the opportunity is to use your mind, use your vision, use your feelings, work on an empathy of what you can do for the consumer and make it. If you can reach to those people through many media, and the biggest of course being social media today, the opportunity is huge that you can see. So long and short of it, my friends, India is in a wonderful situation. The real estate business is going to grow at the rate of 10 to 15% compound per annum for the next 5 years minimum. You got to really see how the growth is there. Enterprises like manufacturing, manufacturers in service industry, people in all fields of activity are going to grow like mad. You have that opportunity in Mumbai, you have an opportunity in Bollywood, services industry, all these things are going to grow. But if you sit back and say, oh, let the wave carry me, then at some point when the market goes down, you will actually fall down. But if you're riding the wave and be always on the top of it to pick up opportunities and say that I will be better and deliver more than the customers expect. So for example, when we did Powai and we built Powai, we decided, I was brought up in Malabar Hill as a doctor, my father stayed that side of town. I decided that every building in Powai will be better than the best building in Malabar Hill. My school, Campion School in South Bombay, when I build a school in Powai, Hiranandani school, it will be better than my school in South Bombay. My father went to 3 hospitals, the Jaslok Hospital, the Breach Candy Hospital, the Bombay Hospital. He worked in all those 3 hospitals. I decided that the Hiranandani Hospital in Powai will be better than any other hospital in South Mumbai which my father worked on. The gardens in Powai should be better than Hanging Garden and those gardens. All activity in the place that I built should be better than anything else. That was my aspiration. If you have a goal which is high and you work towards it, you will achieve it. Today, my young friends, you have the best example of growth in India. Can anybody give me a best example? The best example that I can think of is a chai wala, Mr. Narendra Modi. A chai wala becomes the Prime Minister of the country. if an ordinary chai wala in a difficult time can become the Prime Minister of the country, what can you not achieve? Tell me. This is a country where the future is fantastic. Either you grab that opportunity and ride that wave, or become an animal, live life and go to sleep every night. I want you all to be men and women who have come up in this life and say, we are the people, we are from India, and that is why we are clever, that is why we are better, and that is why you are the best.